Hey, Blue Table fans, Spencer here, and welcome to part 5 of our UCM tips and tactics. In this final video, we will be discussing UCM Infantry. Now, currently, the UCM have 3 different infantry units available. You have Legionnaires, Praetorians, and the Praetorian Sniper Team, which is a new one. And each of these fills a different role. Legionnaires are pretty standard troops. Praetorians are rapid insertion, special forces. They're pretty much the close combat sort of guys the UCM can bring. And the Praetorian Sniper Team, well, they're snipers. It's pretty self-explanatory. I thought I would take a few minutes, sit down, and show off each of these units, discuss a couple of their pros, their cons, and some tips that you might enjoy when using these in the battlefield. Alright, so let's start with the basic infantry squad the UCM can bring to bear. This is the Colonial Legionnaires. So stat-wise, these guys are Armor 2, Movement 2, no countermeasures, 5 damage points a stand, 26 points per stand, Close Quarter Battle 1, they have a Fortitude of 5+, they can come in squads of 2 to 3 stands, with a base-to-base cohesion, and they have no special rules. Like I said, these are very basic infantry. They do have 2 weapons. Each stand has 4 UM3 assault rifles, and they all fire on one profile, basically. Where you have energy 3, 4 shots to represent the 4 guys, 3 up accuracy, 36-inch free range, 9-inch counter range, movement fire 1 inch, full 360 arc of fire, and then it has RW1 and SA6. And what that means is it has reduced weapon 1, so every time it takes a damage point, it loses one of its rifles. It also has small arms 6, and what that means is it can take all of its shots, all 4 of its rifle shots, and basically combine them into 1 energy 6 shot instead of having 4 energy 3 shots, which gives them a little extra hit, a little extra punch against light things. Against heavier things, each stand has a Phoenix missile launcher, which is energy 9, 1 shot, 3 up accuracy, infinite free range, 9-inch counter, movement fire of 0, 360 arc, and has shape charge, so it's always going to damage on a 6. This is pretty awesome because it gives these guys the ability to shoot enemy tanks that are driving by if they're kind of stuck in a building. And you get 3 of them if you take a full squad of these. And frankly, you're going to want as many of these guys as you can get, because the second they get into close combat with something, they're going to get torn apart, and you want as many wounds as you can get available to you. So, I mean, it's going to take 15 wounds to kill all these guys and take out all 3 of those stands, which is really, really nice coming from a Shaltari player. Now, their major disadvantage in close combat is they're not going to hit very hard. They have a Close Quarter Battle 1, which means each stand basically gets 5 attacks because it's 1 per damage point still on the stand. But they're only Armor 2, so they get hit and wounded on a 4-up, which there's a 50% chance that your opponent's going to hit something on them. And if they get caught by a dedicated close combat unit, something like Razor Worm or a PHR Siren unit or Firstborns for Shaltari, they're going to get ripped apart. But these guys are really good at sitting in a building, hunkering down, and sort of covering fire on a street. Because they have the missile launchers, you can fit 2 squads into a building, and you got 6 rocket launchers to shoot at stuff. But they can also sit and they can take objectives because they're cheap and they're easy to just kind of spam almost, but not really spamming. Like, you're not going to have like 400 stands of guys. You're going to have 6, maybe 9 stands of these guys if you really go out of your way and you don't want to take any other infantry. But like I said, they're very basic, very standard infantry. They can take Raven Type A light dropships or Bear APCs, like all UCM infantry. So they're nothing spectacular, but they do have their purpose. They do serve a role, and they do have the ability to take on enemy tanks, which does give them a lot of versatility for a light infantry unit. Next up, we have the Praetorians. These are sort of the elite unit for infantry for UCM. They're also the close combat expert. Very similar stat-wise to Legionnaires. Armor 2, Movement 2, no countermeasures, 5 damage points, 48 points a stand. They are an exotic choice instead of a troop choice, so they're a little trickier to fit into a army. Close quarter battle value of 3. 42 to 3 up. 2 to 3 stands per squad, base to base. They have dodge on a 4+, and they have the fast roping special rule. And what this does is lets them rapidly deploy from dropship into a building. So, for example, you say your objective is in there. Well, you have 3 stands of those guys loaded up in one of these, a Raven Type A. You fly this guy up here, atop the building, and then these guys can just drop right out, capture that objective. So these guys don't even need a bare APC to go from transport to building. They can jump right out of this guy and get onto those objectives right away, which is pretty awesome, actually. It's a very good way to get them either onto an objective or to get them to an enemy that's causing you trouble and just rapid deploy them right onto the opponent and just cause them a whole lot of headaches. Weapon-wise, these guys are all armed with UM3 SMG, Energy 2, you get 10 shots per stand, 2+ accuracy, range, free range of 12, counter range of 6, move and fire of 2, full 360, and reduced weapon 2. So every time one of these stands takes a damage point, their shots go down by 2. And that's not what you use them for. I mean, that's great when you're taking out enemy infantry that are out in the open. But these guys are the close quarter unit of the UCM. You drop them in, fast roping from dropship onto a building where an opponent is, and you get into close quarter battle, because a close quarter battle 3 basically means a completely healthy stand of these guys is throwing out 15 attacks. Now, at 48 points a stand, they are a little pricey, and they're still only armor 2, which means your opponent's still hitting them on a 2 or a 4+, rather. Which means they're not going to survive most counterattacks, but they're going to throw out a lot of attacks if they're at full health, which makes them very, very useful. Frankly speaking, these guys are just great because of that fast roping ability. It means you can just get on top of stuff really quick with them, and provided you don't go into combat with like Firstborns or Razor Worm or Sirens, they're going to survive if you go after the right targets. If you go after other dedicated close combat units, especially stuff like Firstborns, they're going to do some damage, but they're not likely to walk away from it in one piece. But if you go after stuff like, whatever the Scourge basic infantry are, you go after those guys with these, get them in close combat, you're going to walk away, with 1 or 2 guys gone, but you're going to walk away victorious most of the time. So these guys are really cool because they're quick, rapid deploying, close combat guys. And if an enemy infantry unit does get caught out in the open, this right here at full strength, there's 30 shots that you're going to be able to pour into that unit, which is pretty brutal. So Praetorians are really awesome, and they do the job very, very well. And the last infantry unit available to the UCM are a new unit, the Praetorian Sniper Team. I'm very fond of these guys because I'm very fond of snipers in games. I think pretty much any game with sci-fi, or really guns in general, should have snipers available because they serve a very vital battlefield role. Stat-wise, they're very similar to the Praetorians and the Legionnaires. Armor 2, movement 2, no countermeasures. They're 3 damage points per stand, 36 points per stand. They're scout unit, which is very interesting. I think they're the only infantry unit that take a scout slot. They only have a close quarter battle of 1, fortitude of 3 up. Their squad size is 3 to 4 bases. So at minimum, you're going to have 3 of these. Base to base, cohesion, dodge of a 4+. And then they have the digital ghillies rule. Basically what this does is any weapon firing against Praetorian Sniper Team suffers a +2 modifier to its accuracy value to a maximum of 6+. Flame weapons ignore it, but it does take effect in addition to other stuff like soft cover, which is pretty pretty awesome. These guys are armed with sniper rifles, as you probably guessed. These are energy 4, 3 shots per stand, 2+ accuracy, infinite free range, 18-inch counter range, movement fire 0, 360 field of fire. They have the sniper rule, they have the reduced weapon 1 rule, and they also have small arms 7, which has another special rule, precision small arms. When using the small arms rule, this weapon may use its full range values rather than the standard 6 inches. However, this requires careful aim, and therefore this weapon cannot be used in reaction fire. But these are pretty cool. I'm very fond of them. So the sniper rule, for those of you who don't know, ignores soft and body cover, but they can only inflict a maximum of 1 damage point. So even if they go over the needed number by 2 on their roll, they don't inflict 2 damage points. They can only ever inflict 1, because they're sniper rifles. They shoot 1 bullet, 1 shot, 1 kill, all that good stuff. And these guys are very much a dedicated anti-infantry sniper unit. They're not like Immortals for PHR, whose long-reach rifle has energy 7 and can actually take out light vehicles. And these guys can, because they can do small arms 7, so they can get up there. But their basic role is anti-infantry. You park them in a building, and you basically shoot at other infantry in other buildings that have shot out. So that's where these guys really come in handy, and frankly, that's useful. The UCM really needed something like that. Shaltari have Braves, which have their discus launchers, which are great for taking out infantry in adjacent buildings or nearby buildings. And these guys are really good at it because they have an infinite range, especially shooting at infantry. I mean, the infantry don't have countermeasures most of the time, so these guys are going to be able to shoot from one end of the table to the other if they really have to. So they have a lot of use taking out infantry, not quite as much taking out vehicles, but they can if you really need them to. But if you're looking for a dedicated anti-infantry long-range unit for your UCM army, pick up some Praetorian snipers. These guys are really, really awesome. And there you have it, folks, UCM infantry. Like I said, each of these serves a purpose. Legionnaires are very basic infantry, but they do have anti-tank capability with the missile launcher. Praetorians are great for getting into buildings, taking out opponents, capturing objectives real quick, just bam, bam, bam. And then Praetorian snipers are really great for anti-infantry from across the board. Like I said, they can still do anti-tank, so if enemy has light tanks nearby, you can still do damage to them, which is very, very handy. They aren't going to do much in close quarters, so if they get caught by a melee opponent, say goodbye to those points. But at that point, you can counterattack with some fast roping Praetorians. So UCM infantry are pretty versatile. I mean, the Praetorians are really the only ones that can't do like an anti-vehicle sort of attack, but they make up for it by just being absolute beast in melee and being able to deploy really quickly into buildings straight out of dropships. So what should you pick up? Well, I mean, pick up, a couple of blisters of each. You're going to get Legionnaires in the starter boxes, Praetorians and snipers. Pick up a couple of blisters. They're going to come in the minimum size squads for those blisters. So you're going to get 2 stands for a blister of these guys and 3 stands for a blister of these guys. Pick up 2 blisters of each, and you're going to have a lot of options, a lot of variety, and a lot of versatility in your army by doing that. So guys, thanks so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this UCM Tips and Tactics series. Let us know in the comments below what you would like to see next, whether it be Scourge or PHR for our next set of Tips and Tactics videos. If you are interested in getting an awesome looking Drop Zone Commander army painted up by Blue Table Painting, send an email to projects@bluetablepainting.com. Talk to Steve, he'll get you hooked up and we can get your prices, and we can get you an awesome looking army in no time flat. Don't forget, you can also check out our web store at bluetablestore.com. We have Drop Zone Commander bundle packages, pre-built armies that we will paint up for you. So once again, thanks for watching. I hope you guys have really enjoyed this. Let us know what you think in the comments below, and I'll see you guys in the next series.